They laughed as she cried for mercy, but what they didn't know was that hundreds of roaring engines were already on their way, led by a man who once called her mom. Before you scroll past, you'll want to stay till the end of this story, because when justice came, it came riding on 250 bikes. If you believe kindness and courage still exist in this world, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and stay till the end. This is a story that will shake your heart and restore your faith in humanity. It all began in a quiet suburban neighborhood on the edge of a small American town. Mary Thompson, a 72-year-old widow, had lived in her little blue house for over 40 years. Her late husband, Jack, had built it with his own hands after returning from the Navy. Every corner of that house held memories, birthdays, laughter, and love. But life had been harsh to Mary since Jack's passing. Her health was fading, her pension barely covered groceries, and her only son, David, lived miles away, working long hours as a truck driver to support his own family. One stormy evening, Mary returned from the grocery store to find the unimaginable: strangers had broken into her home. 3 rough-looking squatters had forced their way inside, thrown her belongings out onto the porch, and claimed they had rights to stay there. They laughed when she begged them to leave. One of them, a tall man with tattoos on his neck, smirked. "This is our place now, Grandma. Go find somewhere else." Mary's voice trembled as she pleaded, "Please, this is my home. My husband built it. I've nowhere else to go." But her tears only seemed to amuse them more. They blasted loud music, cursed at her, and slammed the door shut in her face. She called the police, but when the officers arrived, the squatters showed fake rental papers. Due to the slow legal process, the police said they couldn't evict them immediately. Mary stood in the cold rain, clutching her grocery bag, staring at the home she no longer recognized. That night, she sat outside on the curb, shaking and helpless. A neighbor offered her a blanket, but even warmth couldn't ease the heartbreak of watching her life being stolen. She whispered, "Jack, if you can hear me, please help me. I don't know what to do." Meanwhile, miles away, her son David was unloading his truck at a rest stop when he received a call from a neighbor. The voice on the other end was trembling. "David, something's happened to your mom. There are people living in her house." For a few seconds, David froze. Then something inside him snapped. He hung up the phone, jumped on his motorcycle, and sped off into the night. David wasn't just any biker, he was the founder of a biker brotherhood called the Iron Hearts. They weren't criminals, they were veterans, mechanics, and fathers, men and women who believed in protecting the helpless and standing up for what's right. When David arrived at his mom's street, he saw her sitting on the curb, wrapped in a blanket, shivering under the flickering streetlight. Her eyes met his, and she whispered, "They took our home, son." David's jaw tightened. "Not for long," he said quietly, dialing his phone. Within the hour, dozens of calls were made across states. Engines roared to life in garages and highways. The Iron Hearts were coming. By sunrise, the faint rumble of motorcycles grew louder. The squatters inside the house woke up to a strange sound, a deep, rhythmic thunder. When they looked out the window, they froze. The entire street was filled with motorcycles, rows upon rows of riders dressed in black leather jackets, their helmets gleaming in the morning sun. More than 250 bikers stood shoulder to shoulder, their engines idling like growling beasts of justice. David stepped forward, taking off his helmet. "You've got 5 minutes to pack up and leave before this street becomes the last place you'll ever want to be," he said calmly, but the fury in his eyes said everything. One of the squatters tried to laugh it off, but the sound of engines revving around him drowned his arrogance. The bikers began chanting, "Out! Out! Out!" The noise was deafening, and within moments, the squatters' confidence shattered. They stumbled out of the house, carrying their bags, their faces pale with fear. The crowd cheered as David walked his mother back to the front door. He held her trembling hand and said, "Welcome home, Mom." Tears streamed down her face as she stepped inside, running her fingers along the walls that once again belonged to her. The bikers stood silently as she whispered, "Jack would be so proud of you." But the story didn't end there. The Iron Hearts didn't just chase the squatters away, they spent the next few days fixing the damage, repainting the walls, and repairing the broken windows. One of the bikers even rebuilt her old garden fence. When everything was done, they gathered around her porch, and Mary baked them apple pies just like she used to for her late husband's Navy friends. She looked at them all and said, "You boys didn't just bring justice, you brought my hope back." That video of 250 bikers arriving to defend an elderly woman went viral across the country. It became a symbol of what community and love could do when people refused to stay silent against cruelty. News outlets covered it, and thousands of comments poured in, people saying they cried, that they wished there were more Davids in the world, more people who stood up when others looked away. And as the video closes, the narrator's voice returns, "Sometimes, justice doesn't come in a courtroom, sometimes, it comes on two wheels." If this story touched your heart, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more stories that prove, no matter how dark things seem, kindness always finds a way.